Intro.
Hi, everybody. It's today, and you know what that means. It's time for another Sarcastic Distractions. And it's featuring, as always, the Gentleman Society of Podcasting. Myself, Harvey, my heterosexual life mate, David Shergold, and the ever-loving AJ. And we're talking about a very important subject today, one near and dear to our hearts. And the subject is Batman.
And that was not planned.
Apparently, we're all Batman.
It's true.
We really are. So, yeah, we wanted to take this episode today and talk about all things Batman. I think we've all had a love affair with Batman forever.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time of your life you didn't love Batman? I can't. Oh, well, aside from Forever and Returns.
Yeah, I'm going to say there was the movie period there where if you ignored all the previous ones. But
But it's not like we stopped watching comic books or anything. Like, we still read Batman comics. We just didn't watch those stupid movies, right?
For me, no, I was always a movie Batman guy, but at least I could watch reruns and rewatch the 89 and the 66. But we'll get into all that fun for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. AJ, let's talk about your love affair, bud.
This is really the focus.
I do. I love Batman.
Yes.
I much appreciate Batman. I really like. What else do you want me to say? I like Batman.
Well, I will
like
say
all things Batman.
You love Batman so much. You have been known to reinvigorate the love of Batman in others. So
really?
I think that's
wonderful.
It is wonderful. It really is. So I think that's pretty awesome. That's something to share. So let's get into it, bud. Sorry, I don't know where my Canadian accents come from.
Let's go, bud.
Canadian Batman is like, hey, bud, hey, over there, don't be messing with the ice rink, eh?
Yeah, it's time to get down, hands and knees, eh?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the Batman Dairy. What should we talk about? We could talk about how he was created by two fellers named Bob Keane and Bill Finger.
Let's do a little high level of that. Let's talk about that.
Debut, Detective Comics, 1939, number 27. Then he got his own book in 1940. And then, his mythos and his rogues gallery grew from there. I don't know if we want to talk about, the Batman history, like his fictional character history. His mother and father were murdered, and he decided he wanted to become a large flying robot. He's had quite the journey. In 1943, there was a 15-part Batman serial with a fella named Leslie Lewis as Batman. He had like big floppy ears and like a big nose, and it was kind of weird. His pants were all hiked up to his nipples and stuff. It was fucking weird, man. just like watching the old Superman TV show from that era, right?
With George Reeve?
Yeah, it's weird. It's messed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Then they did a Batman and Robin about 6 years later with another guy, Robert Lowry. And then the one we all know and love with Adam West.
Good old campy Adam West. So what you're really saying is Batman has been relevant since like the get-go. In pop culture.
Yeah, 1939. He's been a popular fella.
That's crazy. Like, think about that for a second. How many characters in history have had that kind of longevity? Even Superman, people wane on him. People are like, oh, God, Superman. Or,
that's true.
Oh, God, Spider-Man. But no one ever does that with Batman. It was like, okay, you can stop making him lame now.
maybe that's the thing. Maybe when he starts to get lame, quote unquote, right? When he starts to get lame, they're able to reboot his character or his story a little easier than the other guys, right? Like Superman is Superman. You can't have him be a villain really, or have him have a mental breakdown or something, right? Because Superman has a mental breakdown. He can fuck some shit up pretty good.
That's true. And if you think about it too, like Batman really is the whole. It's all about the symbol thing. Like I know Spider-Man does it and other people have, but really, like the bat symbol is like anybody can be this if they really try, and they're really rich and
I think that's part of the appeal, right? It's the everyman sort of thing, regardless of the rich part. He's not a superhero. He doesn't have magical powers or powers. He worked for his ability. Let's say. No, he didn't work for the money he has, or the gadgets, or the toys, or the suit, or the Batcave, or it was kind of just handed to him. But he worked for the ability to be who he is. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I think it's kind of neat to think of that. Like, we watched a lot of Spider-Man when, obviously Into the Spider-Verse, and it's kind of like that same idea of the symbols. Like, well, yeah, you can if you get like bitten by a radioactive spider or something along those lines happens to you. Then yes, you have the opportunity to be Spider-Man, right?
Why do we like Batman? What draws us to Batman would be my question of the deeper variety, as opposed to just listing off a whole bunch of Batman shit and then.
Sure. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So for me, I'll jump in because that's the one where, for me, the thing I've always liked about Batman is he doesn't want to be, or always got the impression he doesn't want to be famous. He just wants to try and make the city a better place, and he's willing to get out there and do it. And again, for me, it's the 89 movie release Batman. That's my favorite Batman. I'm sure we'll have a vote on that later, but I just want to reiterate that is definitely the best one. And for me, it was really because it was that good character where he has benefits, where he has some cash, but he's also flawed, but he's not overly flawed. So it's just he's a normal guy trying to do good things with all these great abilities, this money, but he's relatively, to me, normal.
Yeah.
If I had that amount of money, I could go out and, build out these things, improve myself. Like, he has no crazy extra powers. He fights kind of normal-ish, like all these things, but he still does pretty good things. Like, hey, he gets out there, he tries to do the best he can with the tools he has. That's my favorite Batman. Just Batman. Yeah.
General, yeah. That's your ideal Batman.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Harvey?
Yeah.
What?
What about you, sir? What draws you to the Batman?
Well, I think my initial love of Batman came from the technology side of things, but I'm very much in the same thought process as Dave. Like, my favorite thing about Batman is he just gets it done. There's like no questions. There's nothing. It's like it needs to be done. So I'm doing it. And I that to me is like a trait that I just admire greatly. And I think I learned that from Batman. And I think I think that, and the fact to dedicating your life to just trying to make the world a better place because of something that happened in your past, that just speaks to me. And I think that's a really amazing quality. It's kind of funny when you look at the psychological profile of Batman, how that kind of falls a little bit by the wayside, but that's neither here or there at this moment. But and that's what kind of drew me in. And then, like I never really cared about the money aspect other than the fact that, you could just continue to afford being Batman. It's kind of it, right? Right. And then it all culminates with the car. It's not only chicks that love the car, as guys like it too, right? So I mean,
for the car, I go to the '66 version myself. But that's
I'm drawn to the detective in Batman. I'm a big fan of detective type stories and whatnot. And then when I was I guess I knew about Batman, but I was big into James Bond for a bit when I was a kid with the gadgets and all that, right? So kind of put the detective and the gadgets together and kind of had James Bond, but I mean, Batman, I'd say, is definitely more of a detective than Bond. Bond just kind of
for sure,
bangs chicks and shoots people. I don't know if he really solves many mysteries, if you will. But anyway, back to Batman.
He solves the mysteries that, saves his life. Those are the mysteries that we see James Bond solve, really.
That's true. He's usually just on a mission, right? They kind of already give him the intel, and he goes. But so that's what drew me to it, and I think the first would be the '66 Batman is kind of what sticks to my brain, and I liked how that was funny. So.
I love that.
It was campy and corny, and not taking itself too seriously and whatnot. So that
it was. Just to jump in, sorry to cut off, but I was watching the old '66 movie, and my son, he's watching. He goes, "I don't know if we're supposed to like this or not like this."
We have your 1960s Adam West and Burt Ward as the dynamic duo, with the whole rogues gallery, if you will. Of friends and foes to play with there. I would say my favorite was definitely the Joker and the Riddler. Those two guys were,
Yeah.
the actors themselves just portrayed those two perfectly for that sort of
time
genre, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Cesar Romero as the Joker refused to shave his mustache, that was part of his deal, is he would not shave his mustache. You get the white cake clown makeup
on top,
little mustache. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It also added to his crazy too, right? It's like, okay, wait a minute, you're like this crazy clown gangster, but yet you wear all this makeup, but you will not say, okay. So, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That's crazier than an exploding cigar.
Keaton and Tim Burton's reimagining, if you will. I guess not reimagining. He was supposed to be a dark kind of character.
Yeah.
And I think
for me, it was reimagining. Like, I can still remember as soon as walking in, and when I got to see that in the theater of all places. So it was one of those great things that happened. And I just remember the start. I'm like, this isn't the Batman I was really expecting, even though I'd seen previews and things. But
for sure,
I think Michael Keaton did a very good job as,
he did.
Like Dave was saying, that, he wasn't arrogant as Bruce Wayne, and he wasn't too much of a badass as Batman. Right? He had flaws, and he had problems. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't a perfect Batman. And it was still for far along, I think, enough in Batman's career that he was somewhat established as a superhero in that world, in Gotham, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, he's still a human. That's what, I guess, draws me to that. That and Batman Returns. That was
Well, before we get to Batman Returns, the other big thing with the '89 is the Prince album that goes along with it.
Oh yeah, just brilliant, freaking wonderful, amazing album.
It's good stuff. Hey, nothing wrong with the Prince, man. He's good.
Yeah.
And Batman Returns kind of, it was good, but it was I feel a little more far-fetched than the world that was established in the previous film, like with the penguins. And the
penguins, they're all walking around. That's great.
Right?
Yeah, you definitely had to suspend your disbelief for sure a little bit more for Returns, sure.
For sure.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, Returns legit scared me. I remember being afraid of the penguin. And also that scene when she like fries him with his with the thing, and he's just got his skull at the end when Catwoman shocks Max Max Shrek. Yeah. Like that was like, holy shit! Like
get your traditional murdered him. 2 favorite movies now.
Oh yeah,
Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. We're just gonna lump those pieces of shit right in together. I will say I did appreciate Jim Carrey's performance in Batman Forever.
But why?
Because he's Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Because he was doing his thing. He was doing his Jim Carrey shtick, and his shtick's funny. His shtick is good. His shtick wasn't old yet, right? His Ace Ventura thing wasn't overplayed yet. But the rest of the movie was. I thought when it first came out, I thought there could have been some form of potential for Val Kilmer to have been Batman. I enjoyed other films he was in, such as The Doors, which was a phenomenal movie.
How do you go from The Doors to that?
Right? How do you go or even movies like he was better in Top Secret. You ever see that one? That was a great, from the makers of Airplane. Oh, that was a good movie. Or Real Genius. That was another good one.
I've seen Real Genius. My favorite is totally years later, of course, was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I think it's called.
I'd say that.
Oh yeah. The Saint was good too. He did The Saint a little bit left. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But then how do you go from that to Batman Forever?
Who knows? There was a lot of things wrong with that one. You think about some of the people in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was, Joel Schumacher taking over probably wasn't the best thing to happen to the franchise. Kind of.
I guess it depends on your perspective. Like, is your perspective to make a good film or to sell toys? because it was to sell toys. Joel Schumacher did a really bang up job, man. He turned that shit into a piece of shit sequel and sold even more toys.
That's well. Did he actually sell the toys? Because I see them all over the place now for like a couple bucks here and there. Right? You go to the flea markets and they're still in the package. For
I hate those fucking movies. I hate them so fucking much.
They're terrible.
And I'll tell you why. I got a rant. I was bamboozled by both those movies because I was such a Tim Burton fan, and as we all know, being kids of the 80s and 90s, we didn't have the internet like we do now, where you could just go up to Rotten Tomatoes and see what's going on. And I remember when Batman Forever came out, I didn't know the whole story behind like Burton and why Michael Keaton left or anything. I didn't understand any of that stuff at the time. I knew Joel Schumacher, and I think he did something that I knew of at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that guy, he'll do a good job. Like what the hell did I know, right? We're gonna watch this movie, and then I was excited about the whole introduction of Robin, and then I'm watching the movie. I'm like, Batman Forever. Sorry, Batman and Robin was the introduction of Robin. Batman Forever was just like everything just seemed off. Like you're right. It was like this kind of campy version of like Two-Face, and I'm like, what? And none of it made sense. Like the best part about it was Nicole Kidman was super hot as Chase Meridian. I think that was probably really great. And then outside of that, like, I don't know, everything was nuts. And then I walked out of the movie thinking like, what the hell did I just watch? And then Batman and Robin, I go see it because of Robin. And I was going to leave in the middle of that movie in the theater. I was like, fuck this. This is stupid. The only way I stayed on was because they tricked me with Alfred dying. I thought like shit, Alfred was going to die. And I'm like, wow, I got to see that. Like, I got to like, why would you kill like the one character that's been consistent through all your movies? Exactly. Yeah. And then they did, and they tricked me, and they fucked Poison Ivy, they fucked Bane, they fucked everything. Fuck. I hate that movie. I hate it. It's not just the worst Batman movie, it's one of the worst movies ever. I just cannot stand it. I try to watch it like I don't know how long ago. Like maybe it's me. I couldn't get through the credits. Okay, I just cannot. That's one of my favorite through lines about the Batman films is almost every film. Everyone says, "Oh, this guy can't play that role." No way. There's no way Michael Keaton could do this. Nicholson as Joker, give me a break. And they destroy it. And then same thing with Batman Returns. People questioned Dan DeVito and Penguin, I believe.
Disturbingly awesome.
It was and then I know people like kind of paint it for being too dark, but whatever. And then you had Forever and Batman and Robin, but then. And all those roles were wrong. All of them. Maybe you might be able to get Jim Carrey, but everyone else.
I'd say whatever. That's the only thing I could pull out of the only saving grace I could pull out of those two would be Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey is funny.
He's a funny guy, and he did. And that's what I wanted in my Batman. Anyways, whatever. So, and then then fast forward till we got the next trilogy begins, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And same thing, Christian Bale can't do it, or they'll wait and see. And everybody laughed at Heath Ledger as the Joker. And now many consider him the greatest Joker. Then we, jumping ahead a little bit, we talk about Suicide Squad, Jared Leto, and he's got his own kind of take on it, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't know. And Batman as Batfleck, and then kind of did a pretty good job.
I did enjoy Ben Affleck. I thought he played a pretty good, on in his years, kind of knows what he's doing. Batman.
Yeah, I'll give
smarter, a little wiser.
Yeah. I would say out of those movies, he's not the problem. Batman.
Oh no.
In my opinion, lots to think of. One question I want to ask you guys, because his was the first live action Batman to use guns or to kill people. How do you guys feel about that being like Batman's big thing, and this character?
Well, originally he did carry a gun in the comic books.
True, but I'm talking. That is very true. So, he definitely did do that. But we also know him as.
Who did he kill? Did he kill somebody? Did he kill people?
All those soldiers.
Parademons. Oh, in the dream sequence.
in the beginning when he's doing that whole Batmobile thing, machine guns everywhere, murder, and then he gets.
How do we know he killed them? Maybe he just knocked them unconscious. Maybe
I know
they're rubber bullets. He's fine.
Yeah, that's right. They're fine. And then he did that whole fight sequence where I think he strangled and killed people. I don't know.
What do we think about sparkly vampires being Batman though? How do we feel about Robert Pattinson?
Oh yeah, the new Batman movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually know nothing about that one. I have to admit.
I've seen him. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Robert Pattinson fan. Well, that's weird. Don't sound there. I'm not the biggest fan of his. Like, I'm not a Twilight guy. I don't know. Is anybody a Twilight guy? Whatever.
Yeah,
but
nobody would ever admit to that, even if they were.
But that's true. No, they wouldn't. It's like. Yeah.
As Chris's Twilight poster falls out from behind in his closet there.
Yeah.
Right along with my brony poster, right? But here's the thing. I've seen that guy's range because I have seen those Twilight movies and I've seen him in the Harry Potter movies and I've seen him do other things. So he clearly can act. Like the guy knows what he's doing. I'm waiting with excited trepidation. I want to believe that he's going to do a pretty good job. I'm more excited to see the supporting cast. Everybody else seems really interesting to watch. What's his name? Jeffrey. Shoot, I'm going to forget his name. The dude who's going to play Commissioner Gordon. He's from Westworld and all the other great stuff that he does. We'll look that up. Anyways, I'm very excited to see him. I'll put his link in the whatever. He knows I love him, even though I don't know his name right now. But that's what I'm really excited to see. It's kind of neat to see the car kind of toned down. They've shown the Batmobile. It's very, very kind of street oriented.
Because it's all based off of the year one Batman stories, right? Which is more of him coming up. I guess
exactly.
If you've watched Gotham, this is what would happen after Gotham ends. Who would be? We know that Keaton, I guess, would be Dave's favorite Batman.
Oh yeah.
In this whole list of nonsense. What about you, Chris? Who's your favorite, Clooney or?
Oh, it's a toss up. I would say live action Michael Keaton, but like, I love the Batman animated series so much that like I throw Kevin Conroy in there because like whenever I think of like Batman outside of the movies, when I'm not watching a movie or whatever, like that's the voice in my head of Batman is Kevin Conroy's voice
I'll give that
every
to you.
time.
I'll give
so
it
it's like if I could take Kevin Conroy's voice and put in Michael Keaton's, then that would be like
put him in Michael Keaton's Batman at least when he's in the suit.
Yeah.
Right. You could do the voice.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And then you can have Michael Keaton playing his version of Bruce Wayne. I really enjoyed Mark Hamill as the Joker. Since you brought up the animated series, that would probably be my favorite Joker.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's him and Heath. Oh man,
Keaton and Adam West are for me. I would say tied in my brain. I liked how Adam West played that millionaire playboy with the mascots and he always had like a cardigan on or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was all.
I shared the dance sequence with you guys earlier. I hope everybody watched
the bat dance. Can't forget about the bat dance, right? What
the
fuck were they snorting when that was going down? Who's your favorite villain, and why?
Like besides the Joker?
Yeah, let's say besides the Joker, because we've talked a lot about him, and I mean we could get right into it. And who's your favorite Joker? Who's your favorite version of the Joker and why? But
that's a tough one.
That's days.
Well, no, I need a moment because I have to admit my instinct is jump right into Joker.
Yeah.
And not just Joker, 89 Joker, where he falls in and he fully transforms from already a bad guy to full on bad guy.
Yeah, like to pure evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like the cerebral enemies. I always love when Batman has to like think outside the box. We haven't really talked about him, but Dr. Hugo Strange is one of my favorite villains.
Okay.
Because the whole idea of him figuring out who Batman is and then trying to use that shit against him in a way that like to manipulate, I think that's kind of cool. And then figuring out, basically they're just touching on Batman's personal life and how he has to deal with that. Top of that. But if I'm going to say my favorite enemy of Batman, my all-time favorites, got to be Superman. Got to be.
That wasn't even something I thought you would
you.
say. Yeah. That's not even something I thought you would
what?
say.
Oh, wait, yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
Good point.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say I'm kind of in the same boat as you with the cerebral, but I'd say the Riddler. Or guys like the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow who take him out of.
Oh yeah.
They kind of give him Scarecrow does the whole nightmare thing and fucks with your brain and sort of makes him unsure of what he's doing. Right, he's disoriented to the point where he's what the fuck's going on. And Mad Hatter, kind of the same sort of thing, right? He kind of tools with your mind. But I mean, I like riddles. So I think it's cool when he has to. That's probably the detective part, right? That's the thing that piques the interest of me, and the reason I like is because he was a detective. He has to figure out the riddles.
Do you think the 66 Riddler though, where the actual riddle makes no effing sense, but Batman, Robin, they get it every time instantly.
Every time.
One of the things, again, when I win the lottery, I'm going to make a movie version of Batman or any one of the characters where actually the entire story is the Batman is part of this whole evilness, not because he's evil. He just wants to be popular and important. So he actually pays,
he's paying these guys off.
He's paying these guys to go act and pretend to be in jail. The Bat Jail, of course, which is some fancy place they go stay in.
Can some rich movie producer fund this movie, please? Can somebody get somebody?
This storyline, probably Dave, I assume you probably haven't. It's called the Three Jokers storyline. Where
I'm aware.
In the comic books, where there's three different Jokers. There's the clown, the comedian, and the criminal. And I guess the idea is Batman hasn't been fighting one Joker this entire time. There's been three of them the whole time, and that's why you have this, I guess, bipolar sort of personality within the Joker, but it's not. It's three different dudes. It's a different guy every time he fucking fights him.
Do you mean tripolar?
I guess, yeah, tripolar or a multiple personality disorder. I don't know what you'd call it. But yeah, so I personally haven't read any of them. I just find it very interesting, the theory of there being more than one. And I thought about that even before with the different versions of the Joker we've seen, such as Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson. I'm not even going to count Cesar Romero into this. But yeah, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, Jared Leto was another one. Yeah, he was a completely different, this whole gangster attitude and kind of odd. But again, who's to say that somebody didn't take up the mantle? Joaquin Phoenix, that was the one I was thinking of. Who's to say somebody didn't take up the mantle after or at the same time, thinking that, hey, this guy's got a good point to do this sort of thing. It's always been in my head that there's been more than one the whole time. In 1,000 years, when civilization and society might have changed to, obviously changed, but how we see Greek and Roman mythology, do you think people would be like, those people worship these people as gods? They worship this bat character or this flying alien character. So are they going to be our mythology?
Great question.
Right?
There is always that possibility. I would not be surprised.
Is that what Zeus and everybody was to the Greeks and Romans? Were they just kind of fairy stories or comic books or I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a very real possibility. I'm pretty confident in that time, Batman will be looked at as this relic of historical fiction that, for whatever reason, was so popular and endured for so long. He'll always be remembered for a giant pop culture icon. Will he gain citizenship status like Astro Boy did in Japan? I don't know, but I think he's still going to be at least talked about in some conversations 1,000 years from now.
Astro Boy is pretty cool. Hey, there's an anime I've actually seen. I think we had this conversation once. What
That's
anime?
true.
Yeah, Astro Boy.
Or Batman anime or Batman anime.
Oh, I'm assuming that's an Astro Boy that wasn't from the 80s. That's
Batman
different.
Ninja? Batman Ninja.
Yeah, no, not the 80s. It was the 60s one that was the anime. And I mean, the 80s was too, but it was much more westernized.
Yeah.
And then transformed from there. But yeah, it started in, I think it was the 60s. Was then.
Cool.
Dave, not to get too off topic, but let's get distracted. I think the last time I watched Astro Boy, it was Shan and I and you when we were in Vegas. And you went to do something. I don't know what you did, but Shan and I were alone in the hotel room, and we turned on like Astro Boy, and we ended up watching that for a couple hours and laughing at how silly it was. But whatever.
Weird.
I know. I was like, I don't know why that came to my head.
Did I go to? Was I playing poker or something? I also watched it. Yeah, maybe I went down to play cards or poker or something. Then something we couldn't do all together.
I just remember her and I getting a little lit and watching. I was like, okay, it was a fun night. So, anyways, enough about Astro Boy, and maybe enough about that here, because as all of our shows, this could go on for days and days and days and days. But if you guys like what we're talking about and stuff, please let us know what you think and all that good stuff. And what you think about Batman? Who's your favorite? What do you like about the tropes and stuff? Man, I want to talk about the whole psychology of Batman. Anyways, we're gonna have to do another episode of this. We have
to be continued this. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yes.
We definitely do. We'll do a freaking series dedicated to Batman. But until then, if you are hanging out with us and you're checking this out, thank you so much. Just want to give you a quick shout out and say you matter, important, not just to us, but to those around you. It's really important that you know that we care and other people care about yourself. And if you're dealing with mental health issues or anything like that, there are links and stuff like that. We'll put a couple of things down below if you're interested. And just want to say that. Aside from that, I just want to say thanks, guys, for another great episode and chilling and talk about Batman. And until next time, my name's Harvey, and this has been David.
Hi, yes. Have a good one.
And this has been AJ, and I'm just kidding. I'm Batman. So
I'm Batman.
You can join us at the same bat time and same bat podcast.
Well done. Well done.
Bow indeed. Right on, buddy. I like it. Until next. Wow. And until next time, this has been Sarcastic Distraction. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye now.